Today, the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama heads north of the border to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park for rounds 7 and 8, which will complete the first half of a season in which we've seen only 3 drivers take wins. Canadian Jesse Lazare and Venezuelan Angel Benitez Jr. both have 2 overall wins, while Canadian Elliott Skier has 1. Series veteran Benitez rejoined the championship only 2 rounds ago at Watkins Glen, but won them both. Skier may only have 1 win, but he has shown great speed and ability. And Jesse Lazare returns to his home track, leading the championship, but by only 3 points over rookie Skier. Will Lazare continue to add to his points championship lead, or will Skier and Benitez continue their run of wins? We find out next. Welcome to one of the most daunting and challenging tracks in North America, if not the globe, Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, known as Motorsport. Hi, everybody. I'm Greg Creamer, joined by John Hindhoff and Jeremy Shaw, and we are in for something spectacular here. The racing, yes, but partly because of the weather. After such a wet race at the preceding round at the Glen, absolutely stunning here in Bowmanville, Ontario. Perfect racing conditions, and great for these cars. 2 different classes, remember, the Platinum class, the newer 2014-2015 991 platform Porsches. Different stance, more aggressive aero, but you can tell easily black number panels with white numbers on board. Now the gold category for the slightly older 2010 to 2013 cars, based on the older 997 platform, still very quick. Gold number panels with black numbers, and look for those gold mirrors as well. Now, in practice, we had a bit of an incident, and actually one of our drivers not going to be able to start today. John Getz for Wright Motorsports, coming out of 9, we're on board. Right when he gets to the loaded apex point at 10, he gets that hit, launches him into 2 rolls, and parked him up on top of the tire barriers. The good news is, John hopped out of the car on his own, was absolutely fine. The car, however, too damaged to be able to continue. It was a big moment. Those things happen at a track like Motorsport. And here in Canada, like all the rounds, a double-header weekend. We're going to show you some highlights right now from the 7th round of the Champions. Elliott Skier on pole, local hot shoe Marco Chironi on the outside, but Angel Benitez in that Hertz black machine dove to the inside of Chironi and was able to take that 2nd spot away. However, Skier eased away. Exceptional management of the tires on a warm day. In the gold category, same story for Jeff Mosing. Got a great break at the start, put a couple platinum cars between himself and Sebastian Landy, but it almost caught him out as Bill Pelichowski, fighting with his platinum teammate Jay Patel, almost got into the back of Mosing. Landy in his pursuit, the white 49, running a bit wide. A brilliant save in the Atlanta Motorsports Group Porsche, kept it off the walls. And then for Skier and Benitez, a close call. Oscar Arroyo, a spin right in front. Both of them able to just sneak through on the outside. And as a result, Skier earned his 2nd win of the year over Benitez. And a great drive as well by Jesse Lazare to keep him in the points. In the gold category, Jeff Mosing controlled it start to finish, brought it home with a win over Sebastian Landy and local gun Sean McCaig. So the points now in the platinum category, after coming in 4 down, Skier now leads Lazare by 1, Coolman, Long, and Benitez in a great scrap for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. In the gold category, Mosing continues to stretch his advantage over Yano at this stage of the championship. 7 rounds of 16 on the schedule. Looking good for Jeff Mosing to repeat his championship. And the weather looking good too. That and the promise of some exceptional racing in the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama has the extremely passionate and knowledgeable Canadian crowd out in force to watch these young guns and the savvy masters settle it. Round 8 coming up. Stay with us. Lights are out on the Porsche pace car here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park as this field ready to go for 45 minutes of racing in round 8 of the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama. Let's take a look now at the starting lineup. And again, this is an intense field. The 1 stop north of the border in Canada, and Elliott Skier, the rookie on pole with Benitez alongside. But it's the Canadian guns, especially local track specialist Marco Chironi in that 2nd row, Lazare, then Coolman alongside of Mike Shine. And the rest of the field, you look back in the 11th spot, and it's Sebastian Landy stealing pole from Jeff Mosing in the gold class. This should be a good one as well. We're coming up to the green. John Hindhoff, take us to the flag.
The pace car is off. If we see it again, it will be the safety car. Elliott Skier for Wright Motorsports as Angel Benitez Jr. on his left-hand side. Watch out for the second row as well, as Marco Cironi in the second of the black cars is a quick starter. The green flag is in the air and we're racing, and the lead pair are side by side through turn one. Oh, Benitez Jr. chops down on Cironi, so close. You could not have got a piece of paper between them. They've both got away with it. There was no touch, but it must have been so close. Skier, Benitez Jr. and Cironi as they go down the hill from turn number 2 up towards turn number 3. It's a reasonably decent start. The midfield are just about behaving themselves as Jeff Mosing in the gold category once again has a battle on his hands with Sebastian Landy.
And Landy's got past him there going down the hill, so it's Landy in the lead, I think, of the Gold Cup category, with Jeff Mosing right behind him. That's number 49 and the 01 coming now into Moss Corner.
Now this is a bit different, Greg, because we haven't seen Jeff Mosing in attack mode very often. He's been out ahead and he's been able to control it. Landy was frustrated in the previous round here at Canadian Tires Motorsport Park, and he wasn't able to get on terms. This is going to be a battle royale.
Well, yeah, he had those 2 platinum cars between Mosing and Landy, and it frustrated Landy. You could see how hard Landy was fighting to stay in front of Mosing and make that move, as Jeremy alluded to. And I'll tell you, that outside attempt there by Benitez, he pulled that off twice at the Glen from the outside into the lead. I think he had designs on that when it wasn't going to work. He realized that coming up the inside was Cironi, came down, and I think for an instant it took a little bit of air off the nose of Cironi's car. He pushed wide and then almost let Jesse Lazare slice through.
Got to say, it was very good driving by Cironi. It would have been easy for him just to keep his nose in there, and that could have been curtains for both of them. As the top 3 then, the 14 of Elliott Skier, the pole sitter in the white and red Wright Motorsports car, leads it out from the black and yellow cars, second and third. Angel Benitez Jr. then in the JDX racing car in second position. Marco Cironi settling in now into third position. That's a decent start for him, and he'll want to make sure that he delivers on that later on through the race.
Spoke to Angel Benitez after the race yesterday, and he's got a lot of experience in these cars. He won the Gold Cup Championship in 2012, was third in the Platinum class in 2013, second last year, missed the first 2 races of the season, but he's very much the guy to beat, and he had the pace yesterday, but he just couldn't find a way past Elliott Skier, and he was very complimentary about Elliott Skier. He said Elliott really did drive a superb race, which is exactly what we were saying yesterday. He did, and it was that consistency that was the key yesterday for Elliott Skier.
Yeah, for a rookie in the championship, that was an incredibly well-judged drive. And I mean, Elliott certainly has those skills, but the experience not so much. But part of the Wright Motorsports program is the fact that they also have driver coaching that is part of the package, if you will. And Elliott clearly a bit of a sponge and a very quick learner in that regard. And you know, one of the things too about Cironi and what happened there with Benitez, Marco, this is his track, this is his home. He wants to do well here, but he's not in the championship. He runs the Canadian Series, so the last thing he really wants to do is clip somebody from the full point, season points championship and affect that. Smart move, and Marco's just a class act.
You never know when you're going to come up against these guys again. Exactly. It might even be your teammate. Mark Motors Racing then in third position with that 88 car. Jesse Lazare then in fourth position. The 21 car for Kelly Moss Motorsport, the white car, just catching the curb a little bit there, but I think he is gaining on the couple of cars ahead of him, Jeremy.
Yeah, just trying to carry a little bit too much speed there into the second part of Moss Corner. Lost a bit of ground there on the exit. He was trying, as you say, to take a wide line down there to get a good run off the corner, but in fact he ran a little bit wide, got a little bit sideways, and that killed his momentum off the turn. But he's a young charger, as Jesse Lazare, but he found yesterday how difficult it is to pass on this racetrack.
Yeah, man from Montreal here in Canada, making his way, and we've spoken about this before, gentlemen, but this is a nice mix now of drivers who enjoy their Porsche racing and perhaps have been racing various Porsches for a few years and might be closer to the end of their careers than the beginning, and these young chargers who are looking to make a name for themselves. This is a great mix of youth and experience, and it's a great breeding ground, Greg, for new talent of the future.
Oh, I think you're absolutely right, John. Because of that great mix, these young guns come in and they can feed off of the experience of those Masters drivers, and in the end they produce great results. Just ask a guy named Madison Snow, now running in the Tudor Championship Series. We'll be back. Elliott Skier continues to lead in his Wright Motorsports Porsche in this 8th round of the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama. At Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, Benitez a solid second, and then the two Canadians continuing their duel in 3rd and 4th. Chirone from Toronto in the Black Mark Motors entry, and right behind him, Jesse Lazare, the Quebecois, in the Garage entry. Now here's Jeff Mosing now, hung up behind one of our Platinum competitors, Oscar Arroyo. That's going to frustrate him just a little bit, but guys, it gives us a really good opportunity to see a direct comparison between the two cars. The Platinum car of Arroyo, the Gold car of Mosing, and John, while the differences are subtle, they are indeed significant.
Look at the rear wing, a little bit wider on Oscar's car, the Mexican flag-coloured car. And also, if you can get them side by side, you can notice the changes in the rear light structure, the rear deck structure, all slightly different. Underneath, a very different car. The 991 is a completely different chassis, a little bit longer between the wheels, a little bit wider as well. Mosing trying the outside line into turn number 8. He's 3/4 of the way there, but he's had to drop back in as Arroyo says, no thanks, I'll be taking my standard line through there, if you don't mind, Jeff. And Jeff will be cursing his luck here because Sebastian Landi in the all-white number 49 in 11th position overall and leading Gold category. He's driving away from him at the moment, but in fairness, Jeff's got a decent points lead there.
Well, he does indeed, and he's trying to be smart about it. And the other thing you'll notice when those cars are in close concert is the width, the stance of the Platinum car. It's wider, it's more aerodynamically aggressive, which means from 5 up into 8, and that's why Jeff got that great run on Oscar. That Gold Cup car, a little narrower in a straight line, oftentimes it has a little bit better pace, but it just can't get into the corners as deeply, and that's why Jeff had to give it up. Going back now, looking at what Marco Chirone, really starting to feel some heat now from Jesse Lazare.
He really is, Greg, you're absolutely right, because last time through turn 9, a bit of a slide there from Marco Chirone, and Jesse Lazare right on his tail coming through 10, but as he is now coming up the hill towards turn 8. But again, Marco Chirone just been a little bit defensive there on the inside line, hugging that inside line going around turn 8. No way past for Jesse Lazare, very frustrating. Plan,
Scheme, get it in your head and then execute. And if it doesn't work, go back to the drawing board, start again. Remember, this is a long race. We've had 10 minutes, coming up to 11. It's round number 8 of this year's Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama, and Elliott Skier leads from Angel Benitez Jr.
It is a long race, and it's a workout for these guys. I mean, these cars are physically hard to drive. Look at that, Jeff Mosing literally pushing Oscar Arroyo around turn 10. But you know, it is. I was talking to several of the drivers, and they're expecting 34 laps around here. That really is a workout. You know, it's hard work.
Well, when you get a fast track like this with these long corners, the lateral loads on the driver are immense. The neck, the whole body.
You know, I'm feeling my ribs even as you're saying that, because even the snuggest fitting race seats, you've got a lot of corners here where you're going to be pushed onto the side of your race seat.
Absolutely.
And even with the padding that I carry myself, I know what that can be in an hour's worth of racing in cars that are nowhere near as quick and as much lateral load being put on them as these guys are having.
And then let's not forget, at some point in some of these corners, you're in it, you're loaded like that, you're compressed into the seat, then you hit a bump. You know, so I mean, it just rattles you all the way through. So this is physical. Anybody who thinks that racers aren't athletes are not paying attention.
Think again,
especially
guys.
in this era with the amount of grip you get and the G-forces and G-loads that they deal with. Here's Mosing again, and you can see that Gold car with a lot of speed until you get into that zone to start to turn into turn 8, and then it just doesn't have quite the stick of that Platinum car.
Tried a different tactic that time, Greg. Went to the outside, driver's left, waited for Arroyo to move over, and then cut back into the inside. There was a little touch there as they came off the final corner right in front of us. Just a little slide as well from Mosing. The frustration level beginning to build on the second place car in the Gold category. Is off the circuit in that rhubarb and custard coloured machine. Ahead of him, the Mexican flag is holding him up, and worse still, a couple of cars further forward in 12th position, Sebastian Landi in the all-white 49 is driving away at the head of the Gold class.
Oh, John, right there you saw the back end step out again. Mosing throwing that Mosing Motor Cars machine around, trying anything he can to try and get in a right spot, really, to try and make the pass on Arroyo. Meanwhile, there's Landy, who you were just talking about. He, too, is right now sort of in a platinum sandwich. That's the 56 of Baker right in front of him and the 00 of Patel right behind him. But right now, he's able to make good use of those cars as he's just drafting off of that 56 car Baker and trying to keep Patel behind him. Things going Landy's way right now, moseying in full chase mode, and up front, it's still Elliott Skier hanging on overall. We'll be right back. Back at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, where once again Elliott Skier continues to lead in what has really become a management duel that he and Angel Benitez are having in this scrap for the lead. Behind them still Chironi and Lazar. But John, these guys have been in this position before, running 1-2.
And this is take two from the first race here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Will Angel Benitez Jr. have learned anything from the previous race, Jeremy? Because he charged up to the back of Skier a couple of times in round number 7, but then by the time he got there, he didn't have anything left to challenge the leader.
No, and I think Skier was running just a little bit more downforce on his car than the Hertz JDX car of Angel Benitez, so he was able to drag up closer and get, he was faster on the straights, but couldn't get quite close enough through the corners to make the pass. Skier, meanwhile, has regained the fastest lap of the race, and again, like yesterday, fabulously consistent at the front. The last 3 laps within thousandths of or hundredths of a second. Angel Benitez in second place, Marco Chironi third, Jesse Lazare fourth. All 4 of those guys have turned a best lap of 1 minute 22.2. 22.210, 222, 222, identical, and 228. So incredibly closely matched, those 4 cars at the front of the field. But Skier still has that 1 second buffer.
Yeah, and this again is a battle between these two. And it's a battle, Greg, of mind as well as driving skill, because you're trying to get into the head of the guy you're chasing down. If you're Angel Benitez Jr., you're trying to get into the head of Angel Benitez Jr., the guy chasing you. If you're Elliott Skier, and thinking, right, what's he going to do next, and how am I going to counter that? Okay, they're not side by side, door to door, but these guys are racing just as hard against each other, both on the track and in their heads, as if they were trading paint.
Oh, they're calculating, absolutely. And you know that Skier, along with his mirrors, he's getting feedback from the crew, giving him splits, giving him information, and knowing what to do. The thing that I think is going to really buoy Elliott Skier is the fact that you guys talked about this, that this is a replay in a way from yesterday, and he handled it beautifully. He was confident enough to let Benitez close in a little bit while he saved just a smidge of those Yokohamas, and when Benitez would get there and used them up to get there, Elliott had enough left to ease away just a little bit. And I'll tell you, he is extremely impressive this year for a first time in this category to have this level of maturity and understanding of how to actually do this big picture driving. And that battle for 5th, too, between Coleman and Andrew Long, we were talking about it earlier, the experience and savvy versus the youth and exuberance, and so far the experience of Coleman hanging on at the front of that battle for 5th overall.
Yeah.
Tell you what, this is a great battle too at the back of the field. These are the last 4 cars here, but as per yesterday, they've got a fabulous battle going on between them. Joe Catania leads it from Ore Fidani, who's on that last lap just found a way past his fellow Ontario driver Sean McCaig, and then Mark Yano hanging in there as well. This is the battle there for 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th in the Gold Club class, and these guys are having so much fun.
Yeah, Mark Yano with a 2011 chassis. It's the 2nd most venerable. I'm not going to say oldest, because old Porsches never die, they just get raced in other series. As the 13 car has a wee look up the inside, Ore Fidani has... he had a think there, but I think he thought better of it, and that's pretty sensible driving. Battles all the way down the field then to Joe Catania in 16th position, and 3rd in the gold category, is leading this quartet of cars back towards us here at the start-finish line. He's under pressure now from Ore Fidani again in the yellow and black machine as they come through turns 8 and 9 towards us on the outside of turn 10. That's where we're watching this from, and this is great stuff. The high-density, high-grip tarmac asphalt that's been laid down a couple of years ago now to replace the concrete strips, giving plenty of grip as the guys turn into turn 1. And I'll tell you what, Greg, if this was the battle at the front of the field, we'd be just as entertained. This is phenomenal stuff, and this is for the last 4 places. At the front, it's just spreading out again a little bit. Elliott Skier has just weathered another storm, and he's doing, Greg, as he did yesterday. This is great mental acuity from the young driver.
Absolutely, John. He seems to be able to know exactly what he can take out of those tires. You never see that car too sideways. This is a track that pounds the tires, no question about it. He is doing a brilliant job. Benitez, relentless as usual. And we'll be back with more excitement from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Sebastian Landy and the Atlanta Motorsports Group Porsche continues to lead the gold class here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park for the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama. But now Jeff Mosing, the points leader, has cleared Oscar Arroyo and is starting to turn some laps. He is closing in. And John, I've got to believe for Mosing, getting around Arroyo, his only thought at this point must be about time.
I'm absolutely sure he was a little frustrated being behind Oscar. I'm not sure whether he tunneled his way past him or sort of sidestepped him somewhere on the circuit, but need to keep an eye on those lap times now, Jeremy.
Yeah, we do indeed, and the gap has stayed reasonably constant the last few laps. Another good battle there for 7th, 8th and 9th. Once again, it's Lucas Catania along with Michael Shine and Santiago Creel. Yesterday, Creel was trying the whole race long to find a way past Catania. Well, now he's got another car between them as well, and that is the number 16 of Michael Shine.
And Shine had that moment in that race yesterday that actually cost him a lap and had him a bit farther down the order.
Yeah, he went
so
off 3.
Exactly. So that's been a troublesome spot throughout the weekend for a lot of different drivers and cars here. But Shine trying to make amends right now and firmly in that top 10 in front of his teammate Creel, trying not to lose touch with Catania.
Coming to that area on the circuit now, Sebastian Landy leading the gold category. In all the years I've been coming here, Greg, and it's been a few years, more than I'd like to admit to, I can't remember seeing as many incidents at 3 as we've seen already this race weekend on this IMSA-sanctioned racing weekend. And I wonder if the extra grip from that new tarmac is actually catching people out, in that they are able to attack the turn-in a little more aggressively than they ever did when it was just the concrete area, and it's catching them out because they're taking more speed through it.
I think that's exactly right. Plus the heat this weekend. We've an unrelenting sun, so you get the heat coming down, which makes the other parts of the track, as you said, even a little bit more slick. So you've suddenly got this grip and you think, okay, I can carry it, and you get off of that, and suddenly the car skates a little bit. And if you're on the edge, you know, just a slight touch from another car or a slight slide can put you right off the track. And Ori Fidani right now, he has got a great run on Joe Catania as they come out of Moss, but can he stay put around the outside? Boy, this is where it comes down to commitment and cooperation. He's going to try it.
Racing room asked for and given by Joe Catania. That was great.
Yep.
Great by both drivers. And that's the kind of respect that we love to see. Good racing, slightly better exit. That all started at the exit of Moss Corner, which frankly, it was a little bit of a mistake going in by Ori Fidani. He locked up the front Yokohama tyres, but he got the better exit, Greg, and was able to turn that into a pass for position.
And I think sometimes, John, you have that little skate like that, and you realize it opens your angle up. He improved it. That was not only a faster position, but a potential step on the podium, but Landy leads gold. Stay with us. No matter where you look, great battles unfolding here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park in this 8th round of the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama. Great battle for 7th here between Catania, Shine, and Santiago Creel. And up front, the 05 of Benitez has started to draw in a little bit on that white number 14 of Skier, but I think that might be going to Skier's plan. He's been brilliant in tire management, and I think he's looking in his mirrors going, if you want to come after me, Angel, come on, because you're going to use those tires up. We played this game in round 7. I think we can play it again, and I think I'll be okay. He just has to keep executing. Hey, there's that word again. Executing.
Yeah, we use it a lot, but we use it, I think, correctly, because it is about turning opportunity into results. And if you can't do that, then however good you might have been on the day, if doesn't count, does it?
Yeah, raw speed's nice, but it doesn't help you much if you're also mistake prone. And you can be really quick, and then suddenly you're off the track, or you lose 2-3 seconds. It's just absolute hit your marks, be smooth, you know, and be as perfect as you can. Ooh, that time though, a little bit of a slide there, but you can see he realized I carried a lot of speed, and if I try and pinch it and not go all the way over those curbs, I'm going to get that big slide. So we just let it run out over those curbs. You don't want to do that too often, because once you get all four wheels past the curbing, then you start dealing with track limit infractions, and you don't want to get the attention of the officials.
We've talked a lot, and rightly so, about Elliott Skier, who leads the race. If you're Angel Benitez Jr., what can you do at this stage? He must be super frustrated. He's had this conundrum in the race prior to the round prior to this at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. He's in exactly the same position. He's got pretty much exactly the same gap as he had for most of the previous rounds. You know, what can he try? What can he do? Has he just got to gently pace himself up to us? He charged up to the back yesterday, and that didn't work.
Yeah,
exactly.
Not much you can do really. He's just got to try and keep the pressure on Elliott Skier, and that he's not really able to do. He can turn some fast laps. It seems to be the same story as yesterday. He can run the same sort of laps, but he can't quite get close enough to really challenge him and really, you know, make Elliott Skier look into his mirrors. And as long as Elliott concentrates on what he's doing, hits his marks, doesn't make any mistakes, he's going to be fine. But it's a question about how Benitez. That's what he needs to do. He needs to actually fill the mirrors of the Skier. He's not able to do that. And
he's just beginning to start another charge back to the Wright Motorsport car that leads. But every time he did this in round 7, Greg, Skier had something in reserve. And what's more, that was impressive to me in the previous round, he was prepared to allow that black and yellow car, black and gold car, to get closer without trying to push himself too hard, knowing that by the time he got there, there'd be very little left for him to fight with.
Well, and I think that is what we're seeing from Benitez. Looking at what happened yesterday, he ran him down a couple of times and then had nothing left at the end, and Skier was able to go. I think Benitez is saying, I'm not going to take that bait and run him down. I'm going to wait until the last few minutes and then give it a push.
Yeah, and here's what he's been told on the radio, because Jeremy Dale has noticed something that I've just seen coming through in the final corner. There's traffic ahead.
Oh, and John, you know Jeremy Dale is licking his chops at that prospect. And as he's telling Benitez, Angel is too. Keep in mind, Benitez now in his 4th season of racing these machines. Elliott Skier, a rookie, only his 8th race in the championship. So as we head into the final third of round 8, another test for the talented rookie. Stay with us. Welcome back, where our leaders have indeed caught traffic here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Round 8 of the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama. But what do you do here now, Jeremy? You've caught him, but you're in an area of the track where making a dive bomb move, and he thought about getting down under Yano on the exit of 1, then again into 2. Couldn't do it, lost the air on the nose. Not going to try. Now he dives down the inside, but Benitez comes underneath Yano, and this is now a whole new race.
And the reason Elliott Skier was able to get a good run on there because he went over the track limits there at the bottom of turn 2. That gave him much more momentum going up the hill and unable to get alongside the slower car. Ooh. How legitimate that is, I'm not quite sure.
And Skier had to defend huge in the middle of Moss, because if he'd floated out, a great run by Benitez, he was ready to stuff it down the inside. So Skier planted that car right in the middle. And now these guys are line astern, and they're coming up on, I think that is Sean McCaig in the number 34, whistling up the hill into turn 8.
That was really smart driving, and Skier having to defend early on as he goes into turn number 8. And there we said it, didn't we? Pointed it out.
Have a look here at 10.
A couple of laps ago, and here comes Benitez diving down the inside. But Skier sees it, uses the slow traffic as a bit of a pick there, and puts a car between himself and second place man. This was the big opportunity for Benitez, and he's losing out here. Jeremy Dale did exactly the right thing and G'd him up to get onto the back bumper of the leader as they hit that traffic, but he's not been able to convert. He's not been able to execute, and that could be the race right there with 12 minutes to go.
Yeah, and it was a great move there by Elliott Skier to dive down the inside of that slower car coming into turn 10. the slower car, I think it was Sean McKay.
It was.
He saw him coming, he saw what was going on, left him room, heads up driving by both of those two guys. But that was the important move for Elliott Skier, because that meant Benitez was trapped behind that car, the other car coming off the corner, and then all the way through turn 1 as well. And that is what has given Skier an advantage now of probably, what, 10, 12 car lengths over Benitez.
And Benitez made a huge lunge down on McKay going into turn 3. Had to do it. But the great run that Skier got on McKay, for some reason, coming out of 10, McKay shallowed his exit up and didn't get out where clearly Benitez thought he was going to be, because Benitez had squared 10 up to try and get the run underneath and couldn't do it. He had to lift, and that parked him. If he'd been able to get through on McKay going into 1, he may have still been close.
So completing then lap number 25, Elliott Skier with just on 11 minutes to go in this 45-minute contest. It's round number 8 of the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama, and once again it's going to come down to the last 6 laps or thereabouts, maybe one more than that. Elliott Skier has a second and a half or thereabouts on Angel Benitez Jr. in 3rd place. Marco Cironi still hanging on to that podium position. Jesse Lazare in 4th position, not able to challenge too closely, about a second behind the podium, and that'll be frustrating for him as well. In gold category, Sebastian Landi is still waiting for the challenge that I'm sure he's expecting from Jeff Mosing. Slight mistake there at Moss Corner by the 88. Cironi just having to go around and avoid. Landi leads the 49 car in that gold category, and Mosing is still chasing him down, but time is running out for Jeff Mosing.
Yeah, they're turning virtually identical lap times still, those two. They're still the best laps, was when we talked about it almost 10 laps ago now. But they're pretty much matching time, so there's about 4 seconds between those two, and the gap is staying pretty constant.
Watching Landi there, as you said, Jeremy, the times, I mean, we see Mosing every once in a while take a 10th out here and there. Oh boy, the battle is back on at the front, however, because as Elliott Skier came up on the back of the 13 of Ori Fidani, it took him a little bit of a breathe he had to take to avoid him and then make the pass on him, and it allowed Benitez at least to have, if not take even more out of that. We're down to 2 or 3 car lengths once again, the exit of 3, guys.
Now this is starting to heat up again. Turn it up to gas mark 7. And Elliott Skier, well, he's been in this position before, so mentally he knows he can withstand the pressure. But what's he got left in terms of the performance of his car? And again, we come back to this big choice that the teams and drivers have to make before the race. Do you set the car up to be quick at the beginning when it's heavy? Do you set it up to be neutral and drivable at the end when it's light? And the Yokohama tyres are superb. They give very, very consistent performance right the way through the race, but the car does change, Jeremy.
And the other question is, how fit is the driver? Because by this stage in the race, this is we've been racing now for 35 minutes, and these guys, like you said earlier on, they're physical to drive. You've got to be on top of them, and they're beginning to move around a bit now. It's the track is becoming slicker, the tyres are getting hotter, and it's more of a challenge even for the drivers. Look at that battle now for 4th or 5th and 6th. Casey Coleman has been under intense pressure from Andrew Long all the way through this race. They're just continuing their battle from yesterday. Yesterday, Casey made a mistake. Andrew got past. He's determined not to do the same again.
Big load up from Angel Benitez Jr. He's pushing very, very hard indeed. I was just about to say I may be willing this in terms of a grandstand finish, but I just thought Elliott Skier was starting to look a little bit more ragged, and blow me as I thought that. The big lock up on the right front Yokohama comes from the 2nd place car, monstering the curbs now. There's a different body language between the 2 cars. Skier trying to be precise and get his marks, get his turn in and his apex and his throttle application. Angel Benitez, he's just ragging it right now.
And John, that's really his only option, isn't it? I mean, we're heading into the final 7 minutes here. Benitez got the opportunity in traffic, he has got to pounce on it right now. But the question is, as he has run down Skier at this stage, what does Benitez have left in that Hertz JDX machine? Skier's right motorsport car, he has been protective of those tires. We're going to sort it out when we come back. That's the margin for the lead. Skier to the black Hertz machine of Benitez. There is Canadian standout Marco Cironi in the Martin Motors, number 88, relatively lonely third. He runs the Canadian Series full-time, is the reigning Masters champion for the Platinum class in that category, but he just has not had the pace right now for these two drivers at this point. And for Benitez, it's GOAT time. He has got to get after it. He seems to be quicker in spots on the track, John, but then not quite able to make the move, and he's running out of time.
So just 5.5 minutes to go in this 8th round of the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama. We're at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. It's 2.5 miles of fast and furious action. Elliott Skier versus Angel Benitez Jr. Gents, where's your money?
Yeah, money's got to be on Elliott Skier. I mean, he's driving perfectly, he hasn't put a wheel wrong, hasn't looked likely to put a wheel wrong, really. Just driving absolutely beautifully there, controlling the race, making sure he makes no mistakes. That's what he's got to do, and that's what he did yesterday. That's what he's doing exactly right now as well.
I think you're absolutely right. That said, however, I will say I think Benitez laying back a little bit. And again, I think that's exactly what you were saying about Jeremy Dale going, you're going to catch traffic. Don't overdrive, keep the tires there, so when you get traffic, if you get up to them, you've got a little something left to fight with, because at this stage of the race yesterday, this is when now Skier had already started to ease away again from Benitez. He's not doing that this time. And in gold, 13th overall, but leading in gold, that white number 49 of Sebastian Landi just turns a 1:23.753. Mosing, a 23.740. And for Jeff, he continues to take time out of Sebastian, but it's hundredths of a second, maybe a tenth on occasion. Not enough, that's for sure.
No, he's certainly not getting closer on a regular basis. And Sebastian Landi really doing a nice, again, steady job there. He knows what he's got to do. He knows Jeff Mosing's fast, got a lot of experience in these cars. So he's got to make sure he doesn't make any mistakes. And again, driving really, really nicely.
Yeah, this is great stuff. Landi in the gold category with clear track behind him now. Jeff Mosing will continue to lead the gold category. He's got a decent points cushion, but this will be a feather in Sebastian Landi's cap. The 49 car, as you can see there, is pretty much bereft of sponsorship, and this is a great way to get in front of potential supporters. He's done a really good job here, snatched the lead early and has held it for 42 minutes.
Well, and you look back at what he did at Sebring, that first race was clearly the quickest driver in the class, had that accident that took him out, won the next one, but then ended up missing a couple of rounds of the championship. Had he been here throughout, that points margin would no doubt have been a very different thing that we're looking at here. So now, and again, sort of like for Benitez, for Landi now, he's freed up. He doesn't have to worry about points, go for wins. And that is what Benitez is doing. He, as he comes onto the front straight, is within half a car length now of Elliott Skier, guys.
Yeah, and now this is massive pressure. This is as much pressure as we've seen Elliott Skier have to withstand for the last couple of rounds. And once again, it's a wide exit of turn number 1 that kicks up a little bit of dirt from the Yokohamas of Angel Benitez Jr. He's not going to go down without a fight. He wants this victory. He needs this victory. The first place points to second place points is the biggest points gap between the field, and he's got to try and do it if he's going to keep any kind of hope of a championship run together. Joining the championship late means he's got a big points deficit to make up. Couple of minutes left. They're going to get this one, and I think maybe one more. We'll have to see as they come round. The white flag should be getting ready down in front of us, and Skier has got about, Greg, what, another 3.5 miles, I reckon, to try and hold on to this lead.
And did you see that was the first time the back end stepped out big time as he went to the throttle coming out of Moss? He knows now he has got to extract every ounce of speed here, and he pushed it that time. It did cost him that little bit of a step out. Nothing that Benitez could do. Here we come. Benitez wide, though. Out of turn 7, the back end rotated on him. That hurt him.
It did, yeah. But they're both pushing. They're right on the limit. I mean, the tyres have been working really, really hard in this race. That's the slowest lap that Elliott Skier has run in this race, apart from when he sliced through some traffic. And that's because he's pushing his car to the limit and beginning now to get, the car's getting a little bit ragged on him. He's got to keep control of it.
That step out cost Benitez a couple of tenths. You can see that margin stretched up, and they're coming back onto the back of Oscar Arroyo. This is going to be interesting here on this last lap.
Of the lights from the right Motorsport driver that leads Elliott Skier. Hopefully Arroyo's seen that. It's going to be a tricky area coming into 5. You don't want to be held up on the exit of this. Here's the race right at this point, with time almost having elapsed. Oh, that's smart driving from Skier. He stood it up in the middle of the corner so he wouldn't be right underneath the rear wing of the slower driver coming out. That's given Benitez a little bit of a hope. He's maybe just about in the hole in the air that's been made by the leader. Down the back straight this time, and Arroyo is still in play here. Can the Angel Benitez Jr. car get round? A great driving by Arroyo. He waited till the very last moment just to keep us interested, but he did indeed pull the drivers right. So we're going to get the white flag this time around, Greg, and Benitez Jr. is as close as he has been. It's got to be all or nothing now as they both drift the cars over the curbs to start the last 2.5 miles.
He was much more circumspect through 8, 9, and 10 that time, knowing what he had. And for Arroyo, remember, the straight line speed of those narrower gold cars, there was no way Lazar was going to get him. That was a great move by Oscar to get out of the way. Now down through 2, and the margin about 5 car lengths. Skier to Benitez, and we've got to see at this point, I think, Jeremy, it's got to be more of a little mistake from Skier for Benitez to really have an opportunity here.
Yeah, there's no more traffic that they're going to catch on this final lap. So Elliott Skier now just got to keep it, keep cool, keep calm, hit his marks, and not push too hard and not get flustered by the sight of that black and gold Hertz JDX car in his mirrors. And it's once again been another really, really fine performance by Elliott Skier.
I'd wager he's a little tired of seeing that black and gold car in his mirrors all the time, but better in his mirrors than in his windshield.
Well, so. Yeah, he's going to think somebody's taped a picture on it under every piece of glass that faces backwards at the moment. Round number 8 is almost in the history books, and it's a second consecutive win in Canada for Elliott Skier.
Boy, absolute perfection that he has put on here. A rookie in this championship over one of the most experienced drivers in the championship. And Elliott Skier does it again, controls it to perfection, sweeps a Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. That in and of itself is impressive.
Certainly is. And if you look at the qualifying and the race result, you might think pole to flag. How hard can it have been? Well, I tell you what, Elliott Skier will tell you quite hard, very hard. Pretty hard. And Angel Benitez Jr. will say, I pushed him all the way. We've got a new winner, though, in the gold category as Sebastian Landy comes through ahead of Jeff Mosing. And Jeff will be disappointed, I think, not to have taken 2 top steps of the podium here, but ultimately his points lead is going to be pretty much intact.
Oh yeah, extended, because Sebastian Landy's already missed several rounds of the championship, so this is all he needs to do. But a couple of mistakes, I think, in the early going there by Jeff Mosing. That's what enabled Sebastian Landy to get a pretty good lead on him, and he was able to maintain it from there. Wow, that was once again a lot of fun, and again, battles all the way down the field, which makes it entertaining from every aspect.
Love it. Absolutely love it. The entertainment value right the way through that field.
It was that fantastic racing, whether it was for wins in the classes or just class position. And for Elliott Skier heading in to Victory Circle. When we come back, we'll hear from our 2 class winners.